Yo, welcome back, man, to Deep in the Bag podcast. And listen, y'all, I got me a special guest here today. Man, we got Dylan in the building, y'all, man. Make some noise, you know what I'm saying? Look, you just heard the applause. No, but look, y'all, so I always talk about building your community and just being able to, as you grow and expand through your own personal journey, especially with acting or with life in general, it's super important to make sure that you meet in great people within like the community or in general that you can build with, expand your knowledge base with. And Dill to me is definitely one of those people. So I always like to talk a little bit about our backdrop. So I met Dill in acting class, man, and like we kept getting partnered together and everything. And I felt like she definitely had that personality where it's like, yo, she can take her ish to that next level. You feel me? And so this is how we connected, and this is why we're here today. But man, let's get right into it, Dill. How you feeling?
Great. I'm so excited. I feel like we've never hung out outside of class. We're always talking about acting.
Yes.
So now it's nice to just conversate.
Exactly. Listen, and now y'all even see, man, those pivotal ebbs and flows that you're going to have within your relationship. So it's just like, you got to be able to create that time and space for it because like, could definitely be meaningful to your life in general. So yeah, no, we are going to talk some acting today, but we also going to talk a lot of self, man. So let's just get right into it. Dill, where you from?
I grew up in Corona. I was just like, I know, no one ever knows where it is.
I was like, I didn't even say nothing, but you're right. I don't know where it is. So give us some more, okay?
Yeah, so it's like an hour and a half outside of LA.
Okay.
That's where I grew up, really small little town. And it wasn't that great.
Okay, so you went, so when you say it wasn't that great, why you said it? Is it because it's small town, small dreams, the usual, people with big thoughts and processes about life? Like, tell me what you mean.
Yeah, like not a lot to like expand your mind, kind of. Like everyone kind of was the same, not a lot of people like wanted to venture out and like, which is why, like, I feel like LA now is like, I've always wanted to live in LA.
Okay.
And I feel like it's nice because everyone here, like, wants to venture out, wants to experience new things. And whenever you say you want to do something that might sound like crazy to other people, everyone here is like, yeah, do that. Let's do that. That's great. And I'm like, thank you. And everyone else over there is like, what do you mean? You can't do that? Like, that's not. What?
It doesn't even sound fiscally responsible.
Yeah.
How are you going to make money from it? It's always.
And I'm like, what? Why are you so boring?
Look at that. Hey, first of all, I 100% understand because it's funny enough. So I'm from Washington, D.C. And even being from like a city where you would think it is a melting pot. And I always say it in that sense of like there's every race there and all those things. But like when we come down to your future and endeavors, if it ain't politics, if it ain't the government, if it ain't something like that, and you're like, if you're in DC talking about something, I want to be an actor, you sound crazy as well too.
Mm-hmm.
And so now my question for you is, coming from that type of place with everybody having a small mentality, like why or when did you realize, nah, I want to think bigger than this, or I want to be bigger than this? Because a lot of times your environment ends up shaping you. And a person just stays, maybe people right now that are in Corona doing the exact same thing that they were doing 10 years ago. So like, how did you, like, what was it about you that was like, yo, I want more and I want to do more and be more in my life?
Right. Well, I think like growing up, I kind of tried to like fit in and I tried to like make myself blend in with everyone else. And I really just like wasn't. Ew, okay, I kind of sound like I'm different. No, that's not what I mean.
And you should know. Okay, so we're going to cover this right now. Yeah. It's great to know you different. I mean, for me, I'm like even thinking back on it when all my friends, the most they like doing was just staying within the vicinity.
Mm-hmm.
And we got like a metro train station. And I say it like that because I know every place don't have it. But I remember the first time, it's going to sound wild to anybody that actually lives there, but I remember the first time I went from DC to Maryland. Okay. By the way, these things are like 30 minutes apart. But it's my first time. And I remember saying to myself right in that moment, yo, what's further than this? What's more than this? I just want to know. I want to figure it out. And I remember when I first jumped on a plane to go to Miami. If you're from the East Coast, Miami is one of the easiest trips. Everyone has made it 100 times. But like even hitting Miami, I was like, nah, I want to go further. I want to see what's out here. I want to see more. And so I know I was different and I'm okay saying it out loud because I want to be separated from the majority. So saying you're different is a great thing. So please continue.
Thank you.
So you knew you was different. Go for it.
Yeah. I feel like when I was younger, like my humor or just like my personality sometimes was loud and I was I don't know. It was just kind of like weird. People were like, oh, they just be like normal. And I was like, okay. So I tried to like make myself fit in. And then I think like in high school, I made like some really good friends who kind of just liked me for me. And then I was like, I can just kind of I can kind of just be me and somebody can accept it.
Coming from a small city with that type of environment, like when did you know that you wanted to separate? And so you're already on that path. You said you noticed your friends was different. You realized people started accepting you. And then what?
Yeah. So then once like my friends, I was like, oh, I can kind of just do this. I kind of like dived deeper into me. And then there were other people who were like, oh, just kind of like in high school, you meet like a mix of people. So some were like, oh, yeah, love your humor. You're so bang. And some people were just like, like really put off. And I don't like, and then I kind of just got to a place where I was like, I really don't care. Like, I just, because it's so like not worth it to just kind of fix yourself to make people like you. Like, it's exhausting.
It is definitely exhausting.
I hate it. And I still kind of, like, I find myself doing that today even. And then I'm just like, it's not worth it. And I'm okay without this person. Yeah. Like.
So do you feel like that energy started coming? Because yes, it is a lifelong process because the more layers and levels you unlock, the more different people you meet, the different environments you walk into, you definitely got to remember to stay yourself. But do you feel like that pivotal change to you being like, yo, I don't care to be liked by everybody? Do you feel like it started in high school?
Yeah.
That's legit.
I think it sparked in high school.
Okay.
But really, like, I think between like college and moving to LA, I was like, what does it matter? Like, and then it, like, if I did have, like, if those people liked me and it wasn't me, like, I would be miserable. Like, when I think back on my, like, some of the friends I had, I'm like, why did I try so hard for people who did not want to be around me? It's just not, like, it gets so much better when you're around people who are just, like, like, you're just vibing. Yeah.
Who just get you. Yeah, no, you know what I always say about that when a lot of people struggle with it, because I know it's a tough thing, especially, well, actually, before I even dive into that, when you started, though, deciding to just be you, naturally people was turned off by it.
Yeah.
And they started, potentially being like, I don't want to be around Deal. Like, she ain't a vibe, or she's not cool, or she's being like she's being too different for us. Do you feel like one of the reasons why you like sometimes might have struggled with it, because you didn't want to lose these friends? Or like, I guess, did you ever run into that when friends would be turning on you, or people just didn't want to be around you anymore when you was changing? There
was some people where I was like, oh, I liked being around them. Like, I couldn't tell you why. Like, they didn't make me feel good. Okay. But when they left, I was like, damn, I think it was just, maybe there were some fun things that we did together. And they left, and I was like, oh, yeah, and you kind of feel like they didn't like you, but then when they leave, you know it. Yes. And you're like, damn. But then eventually you get over it, and you're like, maybe it was for the better. It is. Maybe it's better.
It is always for the better. Yeah. See, okay, so you already had learned, coming from a small place, Corona, you came from an environment where everything was super small, but then you decided, they're like, yo, I just wanted to be different. And I know you expedited a little bit to LA and how it's different. We know this, but we'll get to LA. We'll get to LA. And so now, when did acting come along? Because I'm hearing the journey, right? And at what point was it when you noticed you had humor, when you noticed you had personality, that you like, where did acting start to fit in on this journey?
Acting actually started when I think I was in like elementary school. Oh, early. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But I was like, it was really hard because both my parents worked. And at the time I only had 2 sisters. Now I have 3. But yeah, so me and my 2 other sisters would take acting classes, but it was like, I mean, we were in Corona, so it was pretty far from where we lived. And it was hard for our parents to like find the time after work to like drop us off, and then another one had to pick us up. Like, it was like, it just wasn't working, and 3 kids doing it was like really expensive. So eventually we like had to stop, and it was really funny because I think my mom was like, okay, we can't afford this anymore. Like, you need to take the girls out. Like, it's expensive, it's far, we can't do it anymore. And then so my dad told the lady who owned the studio, like, oh, like, I'm sorry, like, we're gonna have to pull the girls out. Like, it's not working out for us. And she was like, oh, we can work something out. Like, we can discount, like, whatever. So my dad, love it. But I think before talking to my mom, my dad was like, yeah, perfect, we're gonna do that. And then we went home. And my mom was like, I said to take them out of class. So I think we stayed for like another month, and then my dad was like, okay, no. And then she's like, oh, like we can discount. My dad was like, no. Like,
Can't take no more discount.
Yeah.
No, mom said, get the hell out of there. We need all our dollars. Y'all playing with me.
Literally.
Okay, so you got pulled out of class.
Yeah.
Were you able to continue acting after that, or did it just went on a pause for a bit?
Yeah, so I think in middle school, it was like really all I ever thought about throughout it kind of, it sucked.
So
it was like always
it was
back
in there.
there.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I kind of just like, played sports and like lived my life. And in middle school, so I didn't do any acting. High school, I was like, I need to do it because I couldn't think of anything else that I wanted to do. Okay. And I tried to convince myself that I wanted to do other things and I just didn't. And then I think freshman year, there was this one girl that I told. Okay. And she was like, do you really think that you could do that?
Oh!
And I was like, and I was like, nice. And so I was like, I don't really want to tell you anything anymore. And my other friend was like, dude, if you want to do that, like, you need to do it now. Like, start now. And I was like, look at that. Look at that.
It's a crazy
it
difference.
goes back to, like, just, like, changing yourself for other people. And, like, me and the other girl, like, never vibe. I don't know if we ever even liked each other, honestly. Like, I think we were in the same class and we were just trying to be friends. But anyway.
No, but I think that's important because a lot of times, right, when people give up on their dreams, aspirations, or whatever, it isn't, a lot of people think it's some big, unbelievable moment that happened on why you stopped.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just what you just said. One conversation with one person with one idea or opinion that told you, you think you could do it? And like, that's sometimes enough for a person to say, wait, maybe I can't. Maybe I will give up and just work at McDonald's the rest of my days. By the way, not knocking McDonald's workers. We just say it, you feel me? And it's like, but you give up on all your aspirations because of the point of like one person's thoughts and comments about you. So I think it's important that in that moment you turned around and was like, who are you to like see the rest of my life and what I envision for myself to like doubt me? Like,
yeah.
Man, did you ever feel like you had to prove yourself to people? Oh, go.
Well, it's weird. Like with that, that didn't really bother me. I was just like, I just thought it was a weird comment and I thought it was just kind of mean. Mm-hmm. It didn't make me think like, oh, maybe I shouldn't do this. I think that kind of happened like later on.
Ooh.
But yeah, in high school, I didn't do any acting. I didn't have my own car. Me and my sister kind of shared a car with our dad.
Okay.
And which was really like, I don't know how he even did that. Like, he's driving to work every single day. How did we even drive the car to high school? Like, there were some days like we just got the car.
Yeah.
And I still don't know how that works. Yeah, like love him.
That's funny. So when you get older, you start thinking about stuff like, how did this work?
I know. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
That's great. One car, 3 people? I don't know.
Listen, one car, 5 people. So I'm telling you, I know what you mean. Like, you're like, damn, Mom, you was able to do all that? Like, we put a toll on you. Yeah. So I'm right with you. there. Okay, so now, go. What you about to say?
Oh, sorry. And then, so I still knew I wanted to do acting. And then once I got to college, I was like, okay, I think you can like either go like a couple classes every day or you can do like 2 days and just a full schedule.
Okay.
So I did 2 days, a full schedule. And then I was like, I can just go to set because I finally had my own car in college. And I was like,
big baller.
And I was like, now I can just go to set or like book or do. I didn't know how it worked, but I was like, now I can pursue acting other days of the week. And then I was like, I really want to drop out of college.
Oh shit! Okay, you was ready to go. Okay, yeah. I love it.
Well, I was pre-nursing, and I never had a passion for it.
I didn't want to.
Because I felt like I had to go to college for something.
Okay.
And so I chose that because it was like 4 years and I was like, good money. And then one day I was like, it was during the pandemic and I was in my room and I was like, I hate this. And also now that everything's online, I'm bad at it. Like it's hard for me to pay attention like on screen. And then, so I told my dad, I was like, I think I almost graduated with an AA, like, which is like nothing, but like, I think I was like a month or a month and a half away from it. And I told my dad, I was like, yeah, I want to drop out. And I remember standing outside of his office door and being like, And I turned around and I was like, I don't want to, especially my dad. I was like,
I was
no.
about to say, I need to know his reaction when you said it. When you're like, yeah, I think I'll drop it out.
And then the next day I was like trying it again. I was like, okay, just do it now before he goes into his next meeting. Like, just do it. So I just like walk in. I was like, hey, Dad. So I've been thinking that I want to drop out of college and just pursue acting. And he goes, okay.
Love it!
I was like, what? And then I was like, yeah, I'm just going to finish up the semester, take a year off, and then just pursue acting. And he was like, okay, like as long as like you can go back to it still. And I was like, yeah. I dropped out 2 days later. And I didn't tell anybody. Everyone thought I finished my semester. I was like, yeah, I'm done. I pretended to go to my classes every day.
Yeah, you're funny as shit.
And yeah, that's kind of how it happened. And then since the pandemic hit like pretty hard, everything shut down.
Yes, we all know.
So I was kind of at home drinking with my sisters. It was a vibe. And I don't regret any of it. Not a single second.
I'm going to tell you, just because you said something about the pandemic, yes, I think for all of us, that was a crazy time. And also, same here, by the way. Me and my roommate at the time, which, funny enough, they own videos from the past on my YouTube when I first was starting, because that's when I started it in the pandemic. And I remember, like, that's all we used to do in our spare time. Every day. I'm talking about from White Claws. I learned how to shotgun in the pandemic. Still can't do it though, just so you know. It's absolutely terrible.
Honestly, I don't think I can either.
Okay, good to know. It's too much going on for me. So I'm like, I can't do it. But no. Okay, so we make it through the pandemic. We drop out officially. Mm-hmm. Okay, we make it through the pandemic.
I think. I don't know if I even dropped out correctly.
What you mean? You just
I don't know. I think I don't remember. Maybe I did drop out correctly. I don't know.
I mean, I just think dropping out is just stop going, right?
Did I stop? I don't know if you stopped going. I think you have to like...
Oh, wow. No.
I don't remember what happened.
Okay. You just... You ended that story. You ended that story, yes. So now we get to LA, right? Because wait, now, I want to make sure I didn't miss that. When did you arrive in LA? Was it for college?
No. Okay. No, I moved out for acting. I moved at the end of December 2021. Okay,
so I think the pandemic hit in March. I noticed just because of my work. So it hit in March 2020. Mm-hmm. And then so you got out here by in 2021 to like for acting officially.
Yeah. Well, that and also I just wanted to live in LA. Like even if I wasn't going to be able to like pursue acting hard.
Yes.
I was like, I need a change of pace. I wanted to get out of my hometown. And LA is a vibe. I love LA.
Listen, one of these days we got to do a deep dive on LA because I tell people this too. So you had so you felt like you always just wanted to be in LA, or did you have an LA moment? Is what I always like to ask.
When I was younger, I remember being like, I love LA, mostly because I knew that that's where filming happened. And I was like, I love this city. It's so nice. Mm-hmm. And then my aunt actually lived out here. She lived in downtown. You don't realize how bad downtown is until you have to drive.
Let's go say, I've been downtown one time since I've been here.
Yeah. And I was like, I remember, I love downtown LA. And now I'm like, I avoid it at all costs.
I went down there for an art museum because I love art. And I went there for an art museum last weekend. And I was like, okay, the traffic wasn't too bad. I'm not going to lie. Mm-hmm. But I was like, yeah, I'm probably not coming back down here though. Yeah. That's why I ain't been to no Lakers games yet or anything. So no, I'm with you. So that was so you always just wanted it. My LA moment, and you got me thinking back on this. I had came out to visit maybe like 6 years ago. My boy had just got here from modeling. He's killing it now. He's going crazy. But he just got here, and I came to visit him. And I remember as soon as I was like, got here, I think I was in Malibu and looking around at the mountains, and I'm looking at the ocean, and I was like, oh, nah, this is the place to be. And I wasn't even thinking about acting at the time. Mm-hmm. So you at least already was thinking about the film. I was thinking of, at the moment, I was like, the weather and the opportunity here. Mm-hmm. I was like, it's something about it. And I think deep down in myself, I was like, I always thought I was like different. I'm okay using that word, but I was like, you will really be tested in LA to see how different you are. Because you know from living here, I'm just going to phrase it like this. People who feel like they're on top of their game in all their little quadrants of the world move here. And so it is a bunch of people here that feel like they're on top of their game. And this city will teach you, are you really on top of your game or are you not? Like, are you really everything you think you are or are you not? And it's nothing wrong with it. I enjoy it. But I feel like it's a real test. But do you feel the same way?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. I think it's like I think a lot of people in LA are just like progressing. They're just like, whatever happens, happens. And it's just, I'm fine. Somehow, I don't know how, but everyone figures out a way to pay rent. Like,
Yo!
It is like the 31st and they're like, I'm $500 short. And then on the 1st, you're like, I just paid rent. How?
Till this second. That's some ish that even I've been trying to figure out sometimes. I'm talking to a person, they like everything you just said. I'm like, everyone just, this is why I think I love it though.
Yeah.
It's like everyone just figures out a way. I mean, I know one of my biggest wake up calls was getting here. I mean, I'm a pretty disciplined person. I'm pretty focused at everything on all my ish. But I remember like getting here and meeting other people who respectfully just wasn't in the same situation as me because I also aligned my life in a certain way before I moved here.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I remember getting here and just like seeing the grind and hustle of people. And I was like, I fucking love this. I was like, I love like seeing a person like, yo, I got 3 jobs right now while I'm pursuing dance, while I'm pursuing acting, while I'm pursuing modeling. And like, I just really want it. I was like, oh my gosh, that like sparks a fire inside of me to be like, do you really want it? And look in that mirror and say like, yeah, I think you do. And then you go from like think to like, I know you do. Actually, I want to prove to you that I really do want this shit. And then you just go all in at it.
Yeah, I feel like once you're like, I know that I can do it, that I want to prove it to myself that I can do it, like takes you off.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
See?
Like you honestly just have to believe that you can do it. And once that once that clicks in your brain, it's just like nothing can stop you. It's crazy.
So you get to LA, right? You started your acting journey. As a lot of us know when we get here, none of us really know exactly what we're doing or how to make it all happen. But we're here. We're gonna figure it out and we're gonna do it. What is some obstacles like that you faced when you first started your acting journey? Just like trying to get to learn this. Like, what are some obstacles you faced in the beginning?
I think in the beginning, everyone's just like, agent. I need to get an agent. I need an agent. And it's like there's so many steps before getting an agent, which is like, thankfully, I got to work on those steps while I was in Corona.
Ooh, yes.
And so I didn't get my agent until I think a couple months after I moved into LA.
Okay.
But yeah, before I knew anything about the business, I was like, okay, it's like, I need an agent. And then I realized like, you need like real footage.
Yes.
They need to know how the fuck you're going to act. Like,
yes. Headshots.
They can't just take your word for it.
Yeah.
You can't just want it. Like, you have to show them. But yeah, headshots, freaking expensive, by the way.
Yes.
And you need them every 6 months. I think I look pretty much the same throughout the year. Which is crazy.
Listen, those two right now, I'm gonna start there, just with you as well. I remember getting here and I was like, all right, you just gonna walk in the room, people gonna see your presence and energy, they're gonna be like, we're hiring you. Stop it. Yo, headshot, you already covered it. I was like, oh, I gotta pay $300 for these joints. Oh, okay, cool. They're like, oh yeah, and just so you know, you need real footage. I was like, real footage for what? They say, oh, you need theatrical and you need commercial. I was like, oh, yeah, because you gotta prove you can act. I was like, got it. Oh yeah, and you also need to get an agent. I was like, got it.
Yeah.
And I even got blessed enough to where one of my friends, as soon as I arrived, coincidentally, they're a friend now, but I met them and then they turned around and put me on with their agency. And I was just like, wow, that's lit. I've only been here a month. Yeah, epic fail. They was like, nah. But it was so funny to learn. At that time, I mean, when I got rejected, I thought I did so good. I had like an acting coach and everything that walked me through. Yeah, I look at the tape from back then and I'm like, oh, yeah, you was just full of energy, bro. You didn't know how to act.
Ooh.
But like you did the best you could do with what you knew at that time. And so like I'm appreciative that I got declined at the moment. But I was like, you'll be good in the future. Yeah. Which everything is like pivoted 360 since then. But that was like one of the things I know that stood out for me. So, okay, so those are just some of the obstacles that you faced. Well, how did you overcome those though?
So when I was in Corona, I remember after I dropped out, I was like, okay, real footage, like, let's figure that out. And I was submitting for like short films so that I could get real footage. But in order to get an audition, they also have to see how you act. And I'm like, how do I start? And I remember just being in my room and doing like I made it kind of... It was like I was in my room by myself.
Yes. Okay.
And I didn't want to do like monologues to someone like off camera. So I was like, I'll just like do little clips in my room, like dramatic, funny, and just like pretend like I'm responding to someone without it being like a full-on monologue. So I just set up my camera in my room and said random shit. And I put a little clip together. I changed my outfits, went in different parts of my... So
you did it!
Anyone who watched that knew exactly what I was doing. They knew I was in my room just...
Yes!
But then I booked a short film. It was a really cool concept. And then I got that footage, put that into my reel, booked another one in San Diego. That director, I love him. I think I worked with him like 2 more times after that. And then I just started booking a bunch of short films, student films. And at the time, like, I was living at home. It didn't matter. I got paid a little bit for some of them, and some were non-paid, and that's completely fine. Like, that's the perfect way to start.
I was about to say, though, on that, because I don't want you to escape that thought. It is so important to understand when you're starting out to stop chasing the pay while you're trying to get that footage.
Exactly.
Because I'm going to be honest. Even listening to your story, it took me longer than I needed to learn what you just said about doing the short films and the student films. It's sometimes unpaid as well.
Yeah.
But they help you get that real footage and they help you get that experience on set to like get better. So like you definitely find a lot of value in that.
Yeah. And a lot of like the student films, I know like starting out, some people don't want to do them, but they use such good equipment.
Yes.
And it's like some short films that people are just like doing by themselves isn't as good as the equipment that people get from their schools. Like, it's crazy. Mm-hmm. And so I just put all my short films together, made a little reel out of that. And then once I moved out here, I submitted to like agencies, managers, and I was taking classes like while I still lived in Corona. The same. I was driving there every week.
Yes.
And so, yeah, I feel like all of that helped me learn a lot. And then, you know, I got a manager, and then a couple weeks later, I got my agent. And still with them, like, they were helping me a lot, like teaching me a lot of stuff. And then I booked my feature film with them, and that was really cool.
See, I love this. Now, what are your thoughts on things like acting class? Because a lot of people are going to come to LA, they're going to watch this, they're going to wonder, like, acting class, is it worth it? What are your thoughts?
You know, I think a lot of people think that acting classes are pointless, and I've never understood that, because there's so much that you don't know as an actor. Mm-hmm. Like, there's stuff you don't even know to think about or to like question, which is crazy. And especially now with like self-tapes, everyone had to learn how to self-tape. Everyone needed to learn how to do your setup. Like, mine looked like shit before I started, but so did everybody's, because none of us
we don't know what we're doing. Yeah. You're just going through it every day, but okay, go ahead.
Yeah. And so acting classes teach you so much, like, not only like with your setups, but like scene partners. Like, I have been in classes where people don't know how to listen to their partner, and it's all about them. And it feels like you're doing 2 completely different scenes, because their reaction off your reaction is not anything like, it just doesn't go off each other. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah. We was just talking about this before we started, y'all. And I was telling Dylan about what happened to me in my acting class when we was just shooting yesterday. And that is one of something you're just going to learn as you start to pivot through that, is recognizing acting isn't about you. Mm-hmm. It's about the scene. And if you go into acting fixated on the point at the end, everyone's just staring at you and you're the main character of every single scene, it's like, you're already going to be going in at a disadvantage. You're not going to be able to pull me in. If me and you're in a scene and I'm giving me an overreacting something. Like, if I say to you, if I'm like, I just can't believe my dog died.
They're like, what? Your dog died? And then they're not even looking at you. And it's like, this is a moment that you would connect with something. Like, you're like, oh my God, are you okay? But they're like, oh my God, what are we going to do? And I'm like, I'm over here.
Something that simple, right? And I'm happy y'all got to see the improv right here on the fly. Like, that's what you got to get. You got to get to a place where you're like able to connect with your partner and then just be able to take each other to that next level. And it's something I had to learn too, which is why I'm +1 in the acting class on why I feel like it's so important to do. And something I learned recently was I believe it's also important to level up your acting class, because it's easy to get comfortable within a community and like continue going to that class, but different classes just teach you different things. So the class I'm in now, which I started with Dill, we was in the same class at first, but now the class I'm in now is completely all set work. And so that's really important because now when you got 5-6 cameras up on you, you realize how to open up. You realize how to dance with your partner. And you learn so much more from the progress of being on set, because last thing you want to do is crush a self-tape. Get on set. You don't know what you're doing. And then the director don't bring you back. But because you can't learn that in a class where there's no set.
Yeah.
And it's like tough.
Yeah, that's another thing is like all of the technicals that come with acting. You would know none of it without acting. Like, you can maybe watch videos about it. I don't know. Like, I'm sure you could do your research. But even then, it's like, that's what acting class is. It's like research. And, like, there have been so many times, like, where you said, like, the director doesn't bring you back. There are so many stories of, like, people going in for, because, like, for, I think sitcoms, you'll have, like, a table read, and then you'll have a rehearsal.
Yep.
And for the table read, you like, they want you to do it how you're going to do it, like, on the day. Like, they want to hear the jokes, they want to hear the timing, everything. Like, with sitcoms, it has to be like, yeah,
it's got to be so quick.
The humor is fast
crazy.
and it's funny.
Yes.
Like, and if you don't read it like that, because they want to hear, like, do we need to change it? Is it going to stay the same? And if you're just like, the next day you're literally replaced. And it's crazy. And can you imagine your manager being like, hey, they went with someone else because you didn't know how to do the table read. And, like, and it's, like, honestly, like, it's an honest mistake, but, like, maybe, I don't know. But, like, that's something that I learned in acting class is, like, oh, you do it how you're going to do it on the day.
Yes.
And the thing is, like, you should always do it how you're going to do it. And then they'll tell you, like, hey, you can just read it through. But you don't want to read it through and then be like, can you act? Can you please, like, read it like you're acting? That's what you're here for.
What I tell people, especially when they come to acting, is, like, if you aren't always in the process mindset of you're trying to get better, then you're going to struggle. So even what you're saying with the table reads and everything, if you're going in there like, well, I'm already booked and cooked, so I'm booked and busy, so you can't tell me nothing. I'm a table read, got it. All right, what's our lines? All right, I went to the store yesterday. This and this. It's like, you really think you're it, huh? Like, no, you need to go up on there like, yo, I went to the store yesterday, and it's like just that pacing to start picking up. And now people feel like, oh yeah, you're in the scene, you got it. Like, so important. I'm happy you covered that. So what techniques or methods have you developed to improve your acting skills? Do you have any in the bag?
Oh, that's hard. That's hard because it's like, you never.
Answer to your best right now.
I don't have, like, a certain technique.
Okay.
But, like, method. It's so hard because every scene that you get is different, and like, I do put a little bit of myself into my characters, because I feel like, one, it makes me a little bit more comfortable, but obviously you have to, like, stay true to the script and, like, your character.
Yes.
But, like, sometimes I'll, like, add in, like, little faces or, like, the things that I do. You know what I mean?
That uniqueness stands out, though. Yeah,
because you want them to know that your character's, like, a real person, not just, like, a character.
You can get so caught up in being a character so easy when you see your script and you got that line, angry, here. And we all go to the same thing of angry when you first read it. Like, if the line is, where were you at? It's like, a lot of times we get to the, where are you at?
Yeah.
And you say, okay, that is anger in the sense of if you just want to say it, but also, where were you at?
Yeah.
And it's just like, they're equally as angry. I'm not angry with you, so it's harder for me to dig really deep into that. But it's like, we all can get it. It's like, there's a uniqueness that you probably have. Like, do you yell when you're mad? Seem like the type.
Like in real life?
Yes.
No, actually, I try really hard not to. I try to be super rational when I'm upset. It's so funny because when I do a scene, I know a lot of people are like, when they think angry, they think loud. And like, sometimes when I'm really angry, I get really quiet because I'm like so mad that, like, I don't even know what to do.
So, yes.
That I just get really quiet. So sometimes that's what I was going to say when I have, like, an angry scene. I'm like, I wonder if, like, they're just going to be, like, if their voice is going to be lower. Like, if they're going to be quiet in this scene because they're, like, mad and they don't want to blow up. Or, like, they're quiet and then at the end, they're over it and now they're, like, yelling. You know what I mean?
Yes. So
like, they try to make you understand, and now that you don't, it's like, they're done.
I'm right with you. So it sounds like, though, you do have a technique at the moment, and I know it's developing over time, and the technique is to making sure you add a unique part of yourself into every single script that you get and not be a robotic person that doesn't feel relatable or someone that like other people can connect to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And even there are some characters where I'm like, this is so me. I want to book this because this is me. And there's hundreds of other people thinking that exact same thing.
That is, hey, and that's why you need that uniqueness to stand out. I know for me, something I had to learn to do, one of my techniques is to make sure I'm present and listening. We talked about this a little bit already, but that has been the game changer for myself. Of course, memorizing the lines and adding in my uniqueness, I'm +1ing all of that. I definitely want to do that. But making sure I'm present and open to change is something I've really been working on, because I can definitely read a script and put it together a certain way. But like we talked about, if I'm already set in my ways and we get on set together and you give me something different, but I'm so stuck into what I wanted it to look like because I think I'm the star of the show, then I've just killed the whole scene. So it's like being present enough to know that Deal might give me something else. And so I need to be paying so much attention that, like, if you give me something else, I need to stay in my character and everything else, but I need to also react based on what you're giving me in that present moment. And so that's something I'm very, very, very cognizant of now. It's like after I've read a script, especially if I haven't got to read along with my person, just like pay attention when you're there. Yeah. And like lock in.
And that makes it look so much more real, because in real life, you don't know what people are going to say or how they're going to react. And like, it's crazy. I've literally worked with someone who's like, oh, well, like, I'll say, and then you can say it like this. And I'm like, well, that's not really.
That is.
We're actors.
Yes. Yes.
What are you doing?
That is so much delusion, but no. So I'm happy that we both have our formulas. And of course, it is always changing and always improving because we're just learning as we go. And as you learn and as you go and as you get better, you will eventually, like, I'm sure both of us will have a criteria that's just set. It's like, this is how we kill shit, but like, we're still growing. Yeah. And so it's like, we got our basic, which I think are all hugely positive, the presence, the listening, and uniqueness. You start off with that, you're already in a winning formula. So another component of acting is being emotional and vulnerable and diving into that side of yourself. How do you maintain that authenticity for yourself when you're in a scene and you got to now be vulnerable and deep in that moment?
That is something that was really hard for me. Okay. Because I don't like to be, like, Dylan does not like to be vulnerable or emotional. Or I used to not, because I was like I would kind of just like push everything aside, push him down, and just deal with it when I'm alone. You know,
from everybody. Okay.
Yeah, like, and so I ignored like all of my emotions, like if I'm sad, angry, all this, and then I was like, one day I was like, shit, if I want to be an actor, a good actor, like, I have to let my emotions in, and I have to feel them, and I have to let people show them. I have to let people show that I have them, and that was so fucking hard. Like,
do you remember that first moment where it happened for you?
Yeah. I remember I literally was like picking up my sister from class, and I had an audition and I had to cry, and I was like, what? Because I am not one. I hate crying in front of people. Like, my best friend, even like, she has not seen me cry. I love her, but she hasn't seen me cry. Okay. Because I'm not going to, also because I'm like, people naturally feel like they have to comfort you, and I don't want people, like, I don't want someone to have to like do that or be like, oh my God, like, what does she need? Or like be uncomfortable in any way. And so like, I would just push on all my emotions down. And then when I got that audition, I was like, I have to let myself feel things so that when I'm playing a character, I know what it's supposed to look like. And then so I, like, if something made me sad, I like, you know, like, basked in the sadness.
And let it come.
Yeah. And I just like dealt with it and let myself heal from it, instead of just being like, it doesn't affect me, it's fine. Because I literally used to be like, fake it till you make it. If I really act like I don't care about this, eventually you don't. Which is true, it worked, but that's not how things are supposed to go. Like, you are human, you're supposed to feel these things and deal with them. So that's what I started to do, and it, like, honestly worked out for the better. Like, I feel like when you're in tune with your emotions, it makes you happier in the end. Like, feeling all the emotions that I have ever felt is like the best feeling. Whether I'm like sad or angry, because it's like there's something about that where I'm just like, it's nice that we just get to feel all the range of emotions, and none of them are forever. Like, you're not going to be sad forever. Mm-hmm. You're not going to be angry forever. Mm-hmm. You're not going to be happy forever, which that sucks, but it is what it is.
Plus 1,000 to everything you said. I know, no BS, because I know for me what happened was, this is one of those downsides, I think, self-development, sometimes the self-awareness and stuff, is that there was a lot of emotions for me I pushed to the side because I just didn't think I needed them anymore. Mm-hmm. Like, and something like anger, to be honest, I don't get really mad about nothing. Like, you got to really do some crazy shit for me to be mad with you. I'm always really just chilling. I'm really logical. And I'm just like, oh, okay, that makes sense why you did that. And people are like, what the fuck? But when I got into acting, I realized it was hurting me. Because then it'd be scenes you need to be mad or need to be sad. But I was always so neutral because I was just like, oh, I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm chilling. But I don't give a fuck. The character does give a fuck. And it's that separation. And so what it helped me do was to realize, as humans, we do have all emotions. And it's okay to like lean into each of them to make your point. And it doesn't make you just because you're angry, you're some angry motherfucker all the time. Mm-hmm. Or like you said it perfect. Like, just because you're sad, you're not sad all the time. Just because you're mad, you're mad. And once I dived into that spectrum, and I realized my moment was when I was in a scene. I could feel my emotions festering. I don't know if you ever had that moment, but I pushed them down in the scene. No one knew because I'm just so in tune with myself, and I like pushed them down as I was talking to stay in this character. Mm-hmm. And then at some point, I remember being like, "Wait." It was an acting instructor who told me, it was just like, I could tell you were there, but you didn't come through. And I was like, I know, I felt it. And after that, I was like, no, anytime you feel it, whatever you feel, just let that shit out. And let's just see. And man, that was the game changer. Yeah. Being like, let that shit out.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. Is like, it's like, why is it so normal for people to be like, just push it down? Like, don't. Like, just let it out. Mm-hmm. And if you want to cry all the time, cry all the time. Mm-hmm. You cannot hold that in. It's so bad. Yeah, so, like, now if I feel like I'm going to cry, I'll do it. As long as I'm not, like, in public. Like, I'm not going to go cry and, like, you know, go get my coffee and just sit there and, like, cry in the coffee shop. Like, no.
For no reason. Okay,
yeah,
okay,
like,
okay.
But like, sometimes when I'm driving home, yeah, like, sometimes if I'm driving in my car and I feel a little sad, I'll cry.
You just cry to a song.
Sometimes. Dude, sometimes, yeah. Songs will bring shit out. Like, I don't even relate to the song, but I'm like, fuck, that shit is sad. And then I cry, and I'm fine with it.
I am right with you. I know some people sometimes when they see me cry, they're like, well, I didn't even think you cried. I could be watching a damn TV show, and I'm just sitting there like, what the fuck? And people are like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, what? It's the emotion. You gotta lean into it, and you gotta know that it's okay to let it out, and it don't make you a weak person, or does it make you now not dependable? It actually makes you human. And this is what everyone connects with when it comes to acting, the human aspect of it. It isn't, if you can't relate to a character, you will not be bought into the character. It's that simple. And so if you don't have an emotional range, no one's ever going to buy into who you are. Because they'll be like, this damn robot, like, does he ever get bothered? Does he ever get flustered? Well, he thinks he's better than the rest of. All right, so we already covered challenges that you had to overcome, right, when you come into LA, and then acting and things you had to learn about headshots in class and getting like real footage and all those other things. What tips would you give for a beginning actor? I mean, they're literally looking at LA, right? They're doing what I was doing. So I'm going to tell you how I got here, right? I was sitting on my couch, hitting a J, and I was watching a show. Gosh, I wish I could remember what it was called. I think it was called The Last Kingdom. And there was this British actor, gracious, I don't remember his name either, but the show was so good. And I remember watching it. He was Uhtred of Bebingburg. That was like his name in the show. And I remember watching it, and I was like, I am so captivated by their acting. I was like, this is phenomenal. Literally the next day, pulled up my laptop, looked up spots, and then I moved to LA because I wanted to become an actor right after that. I was just so ingratiated in telling a story and being on camera, being on screen. But when I got here, I had a bunch I had to learn on my own, right? And so You got that person right now. They got that spark. They want to come to LA. It doesn't have to be everything, but what tips would you give a person that's now about to like lean into acting?
That it is a very long process. I think a lot of people don't realize how much work you have to put into it and how long it can take to like build your resume, build all this stuff. And it like really takes a toll on you. But at the same time, finding a balance is the best thing to do, because that's something that was really hard for me, because I was like, every day, all I thought about was acting. Like, how do I make myself better? How do I work on this? How do I do that? And I was like, I need to not make this my entire being. Like, I need to describe myself in other ways besides an actor. And that's the thing, is like, you have to find balance. Like, you have to also do other things that you like and live your life and like not worry about acting. Because as soon as I would submit a self-tape, that's all I thought about for the next week.
Oh.
And once it's done, it's done. Like, you literally can't do anything else about it. But yeah, finding balance, I think, is key. And at the same time, there are a lot of people who do it because they want to be famous. And you can't do, like, I feel like that's not enough to want to do this, because it eats you alive. Like, it literally will tear you apart. Like, it drives me insane sometimes. And you have to, like, it has to be a passion. And like, if you have a passion for wanting to be famous, sure, maybe that's enough. I don't know. But like, for me personally, I just want to be a working actor. Like,
what does that mean?
Like, just having consistent work. Just like, if I get like a series regular, man, that's pretty cool. Like, that would be awesome. But even if I get like co-star roles, this, that, you know, like smaller things, like as long as I'm just getting to be on set and getting to do what I love, like that's more than enough for me. But like bigger roles, like film, I want to be in film so bad. Like, I want to do that over TV, but I obviously would love to pursue TV. I just think I have more of a passion for film. Okay. But yeah, for TV, comedies, 100%.
You and comedies. See? But no, I think you've already covered some good points, because I'm going to tell you, I didn't realize the journey and how long it could actually take. In my mind, I'll be straight up honest. I got here, it's like, oh, it'll take you about a year, you'll be an A-list actor.
Low-key, but it's not bad to think that way sometimes.
Let me tell you. It's great to have that confidence. It is. You need it. You're going to need it. Yeah. You're going to need it.
Yeah.
But you need to have a reality check with yourself as well. Because of the point that, you know, I think where my humble reality check came just on this portion was watching Actors Roundtable. Right? And that's all actors that have already done good shows, TV, like movie, everything. And listening to them like, yeah, I don't know where my next job is. I'm like, you don't know where your next job is? I ain't even got nothing booked that on y'all level yet, and you don't know where your next job is. And then I started like looking them up to be like, okay, let me just see what have they been and what have they worked on. And sometimes they really have only had just a couple ones, but they just happen to be big and mainstream, so they stood out for us. And a lot of times we'll think to ourselves as like people who are pursuing acting that, oh no, the only reason we don't see them is because they just don't want to work, and that may be true. But a lot of times, it's really truly that they're just not booked for their next job either. And you're like, you, A-lister, like, are thinking about when your next job is going to be. And so you start realizing the long game to this, and that this shit is going to take a second to, like, get it all together. And I definitely agree with you on not making this your whole life. Have other passions, have other things that you're into and you're aspiring to do, and don't. I feel like getting on set that's legit. Like, you definitely want to get on set as much as you can. That's how you make it happen. But also advocate for yourself to build up some shit for yourself to like put you on set as well. And I think that's a tough part that I've noticed, at least since I got here, a lot of people don't do. They're only focused on getting on set. But if I'm like, well, what about shooting skits? Or what about doing something just to get some acting shit out here? And it's like, oh, I'd be down. But I'm like, bruh, you got to keep putting your face out there. You want to build a brand. And so, no, I'm right with you.
Yeah. And like another big thing, this one's huge.
Talk to him.
You have to be willing to learn. If you're not, like, you cannot be closed-minded as an actor. You can't be like, the way I'm doing it is right. Why are you telling me that I need to fix it? And I see so many people when they get feedback, they're like, "What? Like that? It was fine." And it's like you have to be willing to learn.
Yes.
Like if you're like, I think that might be a reason people don't want to go to acting classes is like they don't need them, but you learn so much more than just like advice on your acting or like critiques or whatever. But like you can't, like to be a successful actor, you can't be closed-minded because the director is also going to be like, oh, try it this way or do it this way. And they have to be different because if you make them the same, they're going to be like, what? Like what? And it's really like, that's what makes it so hard. And like, the thing is that sometimes when you're doing it, you're like, that was different. And they're like, that looked the same. And you're like, shit.
Damn! That's a...
And so you have to be like, okay, it has to be opposite, like bigger, smaller, different, like you, and then you can like work on these things on your own or like with other people, but like you have to be willing to learn.
If you right now, if a person was like, what do you mean by opposites? The line is absolutely. How would you do two absolutes opposite?
Oh, shit. All right. Maybe like, I feel like I always do like happy, like absolutely. Mm-hmm. I'm like, absolutely. Like,
perfect.
Opposite, like pretend like, yeah, I'll do that for you. Not. But like, my thing is I always go like happy and then sad. And that's every opposite. And I'm just like, I need to like expand.
You need to get expand as well. See, did y'all like, that's what I want y'all to learn and what just happened. Even though Dill is able to crush opposites right here, right now, still is like, I still want to expand my range. Like, I still want to make, instead of happy, sad, maybe it's some psychotic in there. You know, like, where it's just like, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, creepy motherfucker. Yeah. I don't know what you're going to do to me. Like,
like, oh my God.
Yeah, no. So, I'm like right with you on that because there's, with acting class 2 with tips and tricks, this is always a tough one. Because yes, you need to always be open to change and learning and everything. And I think that should just come natural in this space. So we plus one and at 1,000. Also, not letting other people's opinions define who you are as well. And I know that's a tough thing to like hear. Sometimes when people hear it initially and they're like, well, what does that exactly mean? Because you just said we need to be open to feedback and change. But then we also need, and it's like, that's when you come down to, when you are on set with a particular director, they have a vision. Mm-hmm. And if you have a unique quality about you that definitely persuades their vision of this character, they may let you do it. Mm-hmm. But sometimes they're going to pull you back into what they want to see because you may fit the image enough that they're like, they want this, but it doesn't, that one unique skill doesn't define you as an actor, or their one unique advice doesn't define you. But you need to understand that when you're on different sets and you're taking on different characters, that you need to become different people. Mm-hmm. And that's the part of like the point that I really want y'all to like bring home. What Dill said about the taking those tips is like, it's important to listen to people, change to see what that looks like, but recognize that that's not going to be the finite. Yeah. And so that's the part that can like give people that like, wait, but that's not the finite. It's like,
it's really a lot of stuff that like contradicts a lot. Like you'll hear one thing and they're like, oh, but also do this. And you're like, what? And it's like, you figure it out as you go. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And we all will. Yeah. We all will at the end of the day. So I hope y'all love those tips from Dill, man. And now Dill to bring us home, okay? All right, hold on. No, I'm going to say that again, but I want to see exactly what they said. What did I want to put? Okay, yeah. All right, Dill, to bring us home. Looking ahead, what do you see for your acting career? Like, what do you want? I know you said you wanted to be on set getting booked, but like, where do you see yourself for your acting career? Like, is there a plateau? Is there something that you want that's like, this is the definition of acting for me? I love working with other actors that you learn a lot from. Like, I like learning from other actors in a scene. But you know, an Oscar wouldn't hurt.
Hey, Dill, look over there behind that smile. What do you see?
Oh my God, he has an Oscar.
Listen. Let me tell y'all, this is how serious you got to be about your acting. I went and got a replica Oscar. So every single day when I'm chilling right here, if I ever lose my like wits about myself or I'm thinking too much, I just take a peek. I'm like,
yeah, keeps you going.
I want that. I want to be able to walk on that stage and say, this story I told, like, it hums through the generations going forward. So,
and it's not easy. There are so many actors where I'm like, they deserve an Oscar, and they never get it.
Never.
And I'm like, just how did that actor Elizabeth Olsen?
Mm-hmm.
Love her so. Her range. She's literally one of my favorite actors, and she's been nominated for a lot and hasn't received them. When I'm like, I know she's gonna get it this year. I know she's gonna, and then she doesn't.
And
that's heartbreaking.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and that is part of the journey, though. Like, and that's why I think it's important. And Dil kind of mentioned this in the beginning about not chasing being famous or any of those things, because there's no guarantee that you'll get that Oscar, even if you are a phenomenal actor, even if you are a lister working all the time. That is not how it works. It's like your moment in time will come, but all you can do is keep working on it. But you got such a passion for it that every time you get that new audition, or you get that new booking, you're like, I want to kill this, crush it, tell a story that's going to hum through the generations, and like become that person that's so relatable to everybody that they're just like, I love this character. I don't want them to die off in this show. Yeah. Like, I want them to keep going. Like, that's how I want to be. If I'm in a series regular, thinking of that. Are there any series that have happened, like TV show or movie, that you feel like you would have wanted to be a part of?
Modern Family.
Oh, damn, easy.
It is so perfectly made. Every single character perfectly cast.
Mm-hmm.
The humor, like the closeness, everything was spot on. And I watched that show every single day.
Oh, this is why.
They did it so seamlessly. Everything, I don't even know how to explain it to you, but that would have been amazing to be a part of. Okay. I think about it every time I watch it.
See, I love that. We have two, because yes, my show is The Walking Dead.
The Walking Dead?
Yes. I would have loved to be a part of that. I remember watching it and being like, wow, you're in a whole new world. There's these zombies. You got to stay alive. You got to navigate all these trials and tribulations. Like, I was like, I would have loved to just own one of those characters and just be right in that series next to Rick Grimes. And oh gosh. So yeah, that's mine. The Walking Dead, I thought was beautifully done. I've seen a bunch of TV shows. I was like, this is cool. I could definitely go down the list. I'm sure you can too.
Yeah.
But like my standout that always comes to my mind is Walking Dead. And I've watched every zombie show and movie on the planet you could think of. And I was like, this is my world.
The supernatural stuff, I would love. And it, there was like a certain time for it, but I'm like, why did we stop it?
Because that shit's scary.
But it's so good. And like, I didn't watch American Horror Story, but I heard it was really good. And I bet if I watched it, I wouldn't be able to stop either. Or like Vampire Diaries.
Okay, that was good. I was sucked into that by a best friend. So like, that was good. I actually watched that whole thing all the way through.
I'm like, sometimes like I'll rewatch it. There are some episodes that I can't rewatch because they make me really sad. And it's just like, that would be so fun just to like pretend, like to get to be a vampire or a mermaid. Could you imagine? Like if you get to play a mermaid?
Well, I don't want to be a mermaid, but for you, yes, that would be perfect. Cool. Yeah, like I always said, like superhero shit, zombie shit, all that stuff would be like right up my alley. I always thought I could do gangster mob movies. People tell me I'm a little too like
very happy,
positive. Yeah, I'd be trying to like see. I'm even trying to put on my angry face.
But hey, you're an actor.
I know. I'd have to really dive into that character. I will admit that the serious drama-ish, I love it. And I think that would come more difficult for me than comedy. I like know it because comedy more leans into my positive laughing side. But like I always feel like I want to challenge myself with the drama and like try to get serious. See you else I'm trying to like give you a serious face and I can't help but smile. It's like it just like pushes me. But no. Dil, I truly appreciate you coming on here today and being able to share your knowledge, your advice, and your expertise, especially in this field, especially while we're growing and learning together. And I feel like a lot of people is definitely going to learn from you. What do you want the rest of this year to look like for you in general? This could be acting. This could be life. This could be anything altogether. This isn't a combination of one or the other. Talk to us.
All right. Well, I'm still trying to find that balance between work and my social life. I really just want to, I'm in my 20s. So I just want to like live my life, not look like, I don't want to look back and be like, I should have gone out more. I should have done this. So like now, anytime, sometimes I can be a homebody. So sometimes I'm like, I'll just stay home. I'll just do it. But like now, anytime someone else saying out, I'm like, let's go. Let's do this. Like, and I love traveling. I really want to travel more. Like, the other day, this doesn't count as traveling, but like my friend and I were just going to go get breakfast. And I was like, what if we just like go to Santa Barbara? Like, let's just make a day out of it. Let's just go to Santa Barbara. And she was like, I'm down. And that, like, my favorite kind of people. Like, I love just like, yeah, I'm down. Let's do it. Like, why do we have to make this hard?
Yes.
Why do we have to reschedule it?
Yes.
Like, we've got the time. We're all free. Today's the day. So like, I am just gonna like go out more. I'm gonna do more. Like, I'm just gonna live. Like, I'm just gonna be happy. Rent will get paid eventually, somehow. I don't know. I literally missed I didn't work for like 4 days straight and just like did random shit. And I used to be like work every day working. And that was when I wasn't even paying rent. Why did I work more when I wasn't paying rent? And now I can live my life and pay rent. So that's what it is. Just to like
live the life.
Venture out. Yeah. Just do more.
Get some experience under your belt.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm right. No. By the way, shout out to you. Because that's how you gotta live, by the way. Like, see, but it's, how do I have to view that? I know for myself. No, I'd say same. I realized I kind of said this to you before we was off camera, but I was like, there was getting disciplined and being focused. I feel like at some point I did kind of like walk around with a stick up my ass. And I realized like I needed to chill and like live more and do more and not every day be so, you definitely want structure. You definitely want to feel like you're progressing forward. But it's okay to have some fun. Yes. It's okay to have a drink if you want to drink. It's okay.
It is okay.
Yeah. It's like, no, but I had to like dive into that too. So just know we're on that same path for this year. And yes, this was lovely. So I do appreciate y'all. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Appreciate you, Dill, for showing up. And with that being said, I will see everybody at the top. And this episode will be coming out soon.